Welcome to Story Planet, where every tale takes you on a journey of peace and wonder. Tonight, we invite you to explore the tranquil world of the Village of Bramblebrook, a story of harmony and tradition. As you listen, you'll be accompanied by the soft, soothing sound of gentle rain, weaving through the narrative like a comforting lullaby. This rain, much like in Bramblebrook, is a reminder of the deep connection between the village and nature, enhancing your immersion in the story's calm and serene atmosphere. So, find a cozy spot, close your eyes, and let the rain carry you into the heart of Bramblebrook, where harmony and tradition await to guide you into a peaceful night's sleep. Sweet dreams from Story Planet.
Nestled in the rolling green hills of northern Europe, surrounded by dense forests and winding rivers, lies the peaceful village of Bramblebrook. As its name suggests, Bramblebrook is a place where gentle rains often grace the land, nurturing the rich soil and filling the streams that flow through the countryside. This picturesque village, with its stone cottages, cobblestone streets, and thatched roofs, is a haven of tranquility, where life moves at a slower pace, in tune with the rhythms of nature.
The people of Bramblebrook are farmers, herders, and artisans, each playing a vital role in the well-being of the community. They live in harmony with the land, respecting the seasons and the natural world that sustains them. Among their many talents, Bramblebrook is particularly famous for its bakery, which has been passed down through generations and is known far and wide for its delightful baked goods. This is the story of Bramblebrook, its people, and the simple, joyful life they lead in their rain-soaked village. Bramblebrook Village. Bramblebrook was a village built by the rain. The soft, steady showers that frequently grace the land were more than just a weather pattern. They were a lifeline, nurturing the verdant fields of wheat and barley that surrounded the village, filling the meadows where cattle grazed, and feeding the streams that wound their way through the countryside. The rain was not seen as a hindrance, but as a gift, a reminder of the village's connection to the earth and the elements. At the heart of Bramblebrook stood the village church, an ancient stone building with a tall steeple that could be seen from miles away. The church was not just a place of worship. It was the center of village life, where the community gathered for festivals, markets, and important events. The churchyard, with its old oak trees and weathered gravestones, was a peaceful place, where the villagers would often sit and reflect on the simple beauty of their surroundings. Surrounding the church were the cottages of Bramblebrook, their stone walls covered in ivy and moss, their windows adorned with flower boxes overflowing with geraniums and lavender. The streets were paved with cobblestones, worn smooth by centuries of use, and the air was filled with the scent of wet earth and blooming flowers. Among the villagers was a man named Eamon, a farmer who had lived in Bramblebrook his entire life. Eamon was a man of the land, his hands calloused from years of tilling the soil, but his heart was warm and generous. He was known for his deep knowledge of farming, and his fields were always the most fertile in the village. Eamon had a special connection to the land, one that had been passed down through generations of his family. Eamon's wife, Bridget, was the village's most skilled baker. She ran the Bramblebrook Bakery, a small but beloved establishment that sat at the edge of the village square. The bakery was famous for its bread, pastries, and cakes, each one made with love and care, using recipes that had been handed down from Bridget's grandmother. The sweet aroma of freshly baked goods often drifted through the air, drawing villagers and travelers alike to the shop. The couple had 2 children, Aisling, a lively and curious girl with a love for nature, and Finn, a quiet, introspective boy who spent his days learning the art of wood carving from the village elder, old Seamus. Together, they formed a close-knit family, each contributing to the life and vitality of Bramblebrook. The rhythm of life. Life in Bramblebrook followed the gentle rhythm of the seasons, each bringing its own beauty and challenges. The spring rains were light and nourishing, encouraging the growth of new crops in the fields. The summer brought warmer showers, which helped the grains ripen in the sun. Autumn was a time of harvest, when the fields turned golden and the village gathered to reap the bounty of the land. Winter brought cold and quiet, with rain turning to snow, covering the village in a serene white blanket. Eamon's days were spent in the fields, tending to the crops with a careful hand. He rose early, long before the sun, to check on the wheat and barley, ensuring that the plants were healthy and the soil well tilled. He took pride in his work, knowing that the village depended on the food he grew to sustain them through the year. Eamon often found peace in the early morning hours, when the world was still and the mist hung low over the fields. Bridget's day began before dawn in the bakery, where she mixed dough and prepared the ingredients for the day's baking. She had a deep respect for the ingredients she used, sourcing the finest flour, butter, and eggs from local farmers, and she always took care to prepare her treats with precision and love. Bridget believed that the secret to her success was the care and attention she put into each loaf of bread, each pastry, and each cake, a belief that was shared by her loyal customers. Aisling and Finn spent their days learning from the village elders. Aisling loved to explore the forests and meadows surrounding the village, collecting wildflowers, herbs, and small treasures that she would bring home to show her mother. She was especially fascinated by the local folklore, tales of ancient spirits that were said to inhabit the woods and rivers. Finn, on the other hand, preferred the quiet of old Seamus's workshop, where he carefully learned the art of wood carving, creating intricate designs and figures from the wood of the forest. The rhythm of life in Bramblebrook was slow and deliberate, a reflection of the villagers' deep connection to the land and their respect for the natural world. There was no rush, no hurry, only the gentle flow of time, like the rain that softly fell on the rooftops. The Harvest Festival. As the autumn harvest approached, the village began to prepare for the annual Harvest Festival, a time to celebrate the fruits of their labor and give thanks for the bounty of the land. The festival was the most anticipated event of the year, bringing together the entire community in a joyful celebration of life and abundance. The preparations began weeks in advance. The villagers decorated their homes with garlands of wheat and autumn leaves, and the village square was transformed into a bustling market, filled with stalls selling fresh produce, handmade crafts, and delicious treats. The church was cleaned and adorned with flowers and candles, and special offerings of bread, cheese, and wine were placed on the altar to give thanks for the harvest. Ammon and Bridget were busy with their own preparations. Ammon worked long hours in the fields, ensuring that the wheat and barley were harvested and stored for the winter, while Bridget spent her days in the bakery, preparing special treats for the festival. Her apple tarts, made with fresh, locally grown apples and spiced with cinnamon, were a particular favorite, and villagers would often stop by the bakery to get a taste of them. Aisling and Finn were also involved in the preparations. Aisling helped her mother in the bakery, learning the secrets of her recipes, while Finn worked with old Seamus to carve special wooden figures that would be sold at the festival. The figures, which included animals, people, and mythical creatures, were a popular item, and Finn took great pride in his work. On the day of the festival, the village square was alive with activity. The air was filled with the sounds of laughter, music, and the clinking of glasses as families gathered to enjoy the feast. The scent of roasted meat, freshly baked bread, and spiced cider filled the air, and the villagers moved from stall to stall, sampling the various delicacies on offer. As evening fell, the villagers gathered in the square for the main event, the lighting of the harvest bonfire. The bonfire, built from logs and branches collected from the surrounding forest, was a symbol of the warmth and light that would carry the village through the coming winter. As the flames leapt into the night sky, the villagers joined hands and danced around the fire, their laughter and joy echoing through the hills. The Harvest Festival was a time of celebration, a reminder of the community's shared values and the deep connection they had with the land. It was a time to reflect on the blessings of the past year and to look forward to the future with hope and gratitude. The famous bakery. The Bramblebrook Bakery was more than just a place to buy bread and sweets. It was the heart of the village, a gathering place where people came to share stories, laughter, and the simple joys of life. Bridget took great pride in her work, and she was always experimenting with new recipes, drawing inspiration from the changing seasons and the natural beauty of the village. One of her most famous creations was the blackberry pie, made with wild blackberries that Aisling would gather from the hedgerows surrounding the village. The pie was a favorite during late summer and early autumn, when the berries were at their juiciest, and villagers would often stop by the bakery to enjoy a slice with a cup of hot tea. Another popular treat was the honey cake, made with golden honey from the village's beekeepers and spiced with a hint of nutmeg and cinnamon. The honey cake was especially popular during the colder months, when its rich, warming flavors provided comfort and cheer. Bridget's bread, however, was the bakery's most famous offering. Her loaves, baked to perfection with a crisp crust and soft, airy interior, were a staple in every household in Bramblebrook. The recipe had been passed down from Bridget's grandmother, and she had perfected it over the years, adding her own special touch that made it truly unique. The bakery was always busy, especially during the Harvest Festival, when people from neighboring villages would come to sample Bridget's treats. Despite the long hours and hard work, Bridget loved every moment of it. She took great pride in her craft, and she was always happy to see the smiles on her customers' faces as they enjoyed her creations. Aisling, too, had developed a love for baking, and she often helped her mother in the kitchen. She had a natural talent for it, and Brigid took great pleasure in teaching her daughter the secrets of the trade. Aisling was particularly skilled at decorating the cakes and pastries, adding delicate patterns and designs that made them almost too beautiful to eat. The Bramblebrook Bakery was more than just a business. It was a symbol of the love and care that Brigid and her family poured into everything they did. It was a place where people could come together, share a meal, and enjoy the simple pleasures of life. Brigid's reputation as a baker had spread beyond the village, and it wasn't uncommon for travelers passing through Bramblebrook to stop by just to taste her famous bread and pastries. As the years went by, Aisling became more involved in the bakery, learning all the secrets of her mother's craft. She began to experiment with her own recipes, combining traditional methods with new ingredients and techniques she had learned from books and travelers who visited the village. The villagers were delighted with her creations, and Aisling quickly gained a reputation as a talented young baker in her own right. Finn, too, continued to develop his skills as a wood carver under old Seamus's guidance. His carvings became increasingly intricate and detailed, and his work was highly sought after by the villagers and visitors alike. Finn found great satisfaction in his craft, knowing that his work brought beauty and joy to those who appreciated it. Together, the family continued to contribute to the life and vitality of Bramblebrook, each in their own unique way. The changing seasons. As the seasons changed, so too did the life in Bramblebrook. The village was a place of constant transformation, with each season bringing its own unique beauty and challenges. Spring was a time of renewal, when the fields were planted with new crops and the countryside was covered in a blanket of green. The air was filled with the scent of fresh earth and blooming flowers, and the villagers celebrated the arrival of spring with a maypole dance in the village square. Summer was a time of warmth and abundance. The fields were filled with tall stalks of wheat and barley, and the meadows were alive with the sound of cattle lowing and birds singing. The villagers spent their days working in the fields, and their evenings relaxing by the river, where the cool water provided a welcome respite from the heat. Autumn was a time of harvest, when the fields turned golden, and the village gathered to reap the bounty of the land. The harvest festival was held during this time, a celebration of the fruits of their labor, and a time to give thanks for the blessings of the year. Winter was a time of quiet reflection. The rain turned to snow, covering the village in a blanket of white, and the pace of life slowed down. The villagers spent their days indoors, tending to their homes and preparing for the coming year. The bakery was especially busy during this time, as people sought comfort in the warmth and sweetness of Brigid's treats. Each season brought its own challenges, but the people of Bramblebrook faced them with grace and resilience. They understood that life was a cycle, constantly changing and evolving, and they embraced each season with open hearts. The Yuletide Celebration. The Yuletide celebration was the most important holiday in Bramblebrook, a time of renewal and hope as the villagers prepared to welcome the return of the sun after the long, dark winter. The village was decorated with holly, ivy, and mistletoe, and the church was the center of the celebrations, where the community gathered for the midnight mass and the lighting of the Yule log. The preparations for Yuletide began weeks in advance. The villagers cleaned their homes from top to bottom, a tradition known as the Great Clean, to prepare for the new year. Special foods were prepared, including roasted meats, spiced wine, and sweet pastries. Bridget's gingerbread, shaped into little figures and animals, was a favorite treat during the holiday season. On Yuletide Eve, the villagers gathered in the village square for the lighting of the Yule log, a large, decorated log that was brought in from the forest. The log was placed in the hearth of the church, where it would burn throughout the night, symbolizing the light that would carry the village through the darkest days of winter. As midnight approached, the villagers made their way to the church for the midnight mass, where they sang hymns, offered prayers, and gave thanks for the blessings of the past year. The church was filled with the soft glow of candlelight, and the air was filled with the scent of pine and incense. After the Mass, the villagers returned to their homes to continue the celebration with feasting, singing, and dancing. The children played games, and the adults exchanged gifts, sharing in the joy and warmth of the season. The Yuletide celebration was a time of hope and renewal, a time to look back on the year that had passed and look forward to the year ahead. The people of Bramblebrook embraced the new year with gratitude and optimism, confident in their ability to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The spirit of Bramblebrook. The village of Bramblebrook was more than just a place. It was a community, a way of life, and a source of strength for its people. The villagers understood the importance of working together, supporting one another, and maintaining a deep connection to the land and the natural world. The spirit of Bramblebrook was embodied in the rain that fell gently on the rooftops, in the fields of wheat and barley that stretched out across the hillsides, in the wildflowers that bloomed each spring, and in the sweet treats that were baked with love and care in Bridget's bakery. It was a spirit of harmony, peace, and respect, a reminder that life was a precious gift to be cherished and celebrated. As the years passed, the village of Bramblebrook continued to thrive, its traditions preserved and its people united by a shared sense of purpose and pride. The village may have been small, but it was a place of great beauty and strength, a place where the simple joys of life were honored and the bonds of community were strong. The story of Bramblebrook is a story of rain and harmony, of a people who understood the importance of living in balance with the natural world and with each other. It is a story of love, family, and tradition, a reminder that true happiness comes from the simple things in life. The legacy of Bramblebrook. The village of Bramblebrook remains a place of peace and tranquility, its traditions and way of life passed down through generations. The bakery still stands at the edge of the village square, its doors open to all who seek the warmth and sweetness of Bridget's treats. The fields of wheat and barley still stretch out across the hillsides, their golden stalks swaying gently in the breeze. The church still stands as a place of worship and reflection, its steeple a symbol of the village's connection to the spiritual world. The people of Bramblebrook continue to live their lives in harmony with the land, the rain, and each other. They are a reminder that true happiness comes not from material wealth, but from the love, respect, and connection we share with the world around us. The legacy of Bramblebrook is one of peace, harmony, and a deep respect for the natural world. It is a legacy that will endure for generations to come, a reminder of the beauty and simplicity of life in this rain-kissed village. As the rain falls gently on the rooftops of Bramblebrook, the village continues to thrive, its people living in harmony with the land, the rain, and each other. The story of Bramblebrook is a story of love, family, and tradition, a story that will be told and retold for generations to come. Thank you for joining us on this peaceful journey through the Village of Bramblebrook, a story of harmony and tradition. We hope the gentle rain and the timeless tale brought you a sense of calm and tranquility tonight. If you enjoyed your time with us, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to our channel. Your support helps us continue to create stories that bring warmth and serenity to your evenings. Good night and sweet dreams from Story Planet.